Hello guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. And today we'll be doing part 2 of our Jurassic World Evolution 2 mod spotlights, where we take a look at a bunch of different animals and mods people have been making and compare them to their real-life fossil counterparts. And today we've got some pretty interesting cast of animals. We've got a lot of dinosaurs today, so a lot of accurate remodels and stuff that we'll go over, so that'll be very, very interesting. But we're going to be starting off with the pterosaurs for today. Really, really exciting. But today we have got a fluffy Dimorphodon, or fuzzy Dimorphodon, by NanoLancensis. So let's get ourselves in our... Let's pause it. I want to get a good look and show you guys. So we will have a look at the fuzzy Dimorphodon. And you can see here, NanoLancensis is quite famous for... or not famous, but quite notorious in the community. He made the old feathered Uteranus and Nanocosaurus and a lot of those guys. And he's been really applying this technique that I really love to try and get feathers and filaments and pycnofibers. He's been applying that to the pterosaurs, and I think it came out quite nicely. Really gives it a feathery look. Obviously, if it was accurate, it would be across the whole body. It certainly wouldn't look like this, but it's accurate to both the movies, because the movie had some pycnofibers in there, but also we know that a lot of pterosaurs had pycnofibers, which were very similar to feathers. In fact, they may be feathers, but that only depends if feathers were basal to Ornithodira, which is the group that includes both pterosaurs and dinosaurs, including birds, before they split from each other. So it's kind of that early group, and the ancestors that would have split into those guys could potentially have been feathered, but there's really not that much evidence to support this, unfortunately. So really, science is going to change on this a lot, but it's a very valid possibility since we see similar pycnofibers and feathers. They look very similar to each other. Even from preserved pterosaurs, we have pycnofibers that were pretty much in stage 3 feathers. So that's very, very interesting if they either convergently evolved or they were ancestral, and that's the real question. But yeah, really excited to see both. It's helping the movie accurate as well, as I mentioned, because the movie one had pycnofibers, and I think this has great potential in the future because I'm really excited for Digital Duck's feather pack, because he's talked about and said he wanted to bring it back for Jurassic World Evolution 2. He'll add some pterosaur stuff as well, so I think it's going to come out wonderfully. I'm very, very excited, and really nice job to Nano for doing a good job for that. So this is our first pterosaur of the day. We'll watch them fly around and do their thing. Next, we're going to move on to another pterosaur. It's going to be our second pterosaur and our last one. This is the Tapijara Remodel by Hyper JWE2. So let's get ourselves in. As I've mentioned a couple times, actually, I think we'll have a look at this one sitting here. But this is wrong way, wrong one. So let's get ourselves back in position. So this is Tapijara, or it's more accurately Tubandaculus. This has kind of been made to fit a little bit more the original Tapijara, since Tubandaculus has that really, really tall crest that you see in the base game Tapijara. Not the base game Tapijara, but that's based more on Tubandaculus. This one has a little bit more accurate to Tubandaculus, even though it's probably still a little bit tall. I hope someone makes a nice one of that, and I'll cover them. You can even suggest in the comments. I've been scaling through all the mods I can, but if you want to suggest a mod, feel free to put it in the comments as well. I will try my best to cover it. But yeah, wonderfully, we've got this really big update as well. It's not only just updated the crest and stuff, it's also updated a lot of other things. This one's less of an accurate and more of a TLC, or 10 to 11 care. so it makes it look a little bit nicer. I really like the colors. The green really pops out for the base color, and it actually contrasts pretty well with the orange and yellow. We can see also the wings have been a bit more rounded. Pterosaurs, a lot of times are depicted, I'll see if it's changed here, but pterosaurs are often depicted with these very, very pointy wings here, which is very not accurate. From what we know from skin impressions of pterosaur wings, it was most likely they were very much more rounded like this. So yeah, inadvertently made it a little bit more accurate, so that's pretty awesome. And I'm a really big fan of this guy. I think he came out really, really well. I like covering these accurate mods and things, really cool. So now that we're done with the pterosaurs, we're going to have a look at our wonderful dinosaurs. So we're going to be starting with herbivores, of course. We've only got really one herbivore today. The rest are all carnivores. Lucky you guys. We have got by NetRaptor, everyone's favorite old modder from Jurassic World Evolution 1, we have got the Paleoaccurate Iguanodon. So let's get ourselves in camera mode. Let's look at these wonderful fellows. Let me see if we can get a good one of them in the light. Okay, let's have a wonderful look at you. So yeah, you can see some of the major changes that have been happening. Keep clicking out of the camera mode, but look at this wonderful guy. Have a look at this one as well. So we can see a lot of the changes that have been made. The head has been made a lot more boxier. Iguanodon is a very, very bulky animal, and it really made to reflect the skull. It's much taller and also a lot boxier. I think it came out really nicely. The neck's been greatly thickened. This seems to be based on the Hartmann skeletal, which is obviously the best way to look at it. Really, really wonderful. And we can see the neck's been thickened, the chest has been deepened. If we look at the tail, it's been elongated and made a little bit thinner. The pubis is quite huge on these guys, and the ischium, because they've got bird-like hips, it kind of just really makes it accentuate that back end there. And yeah, really, really wonderful. If you can look at the hands and the feet, we'll start with the feet. They've got these like 3 claws going on. Really, really wonderful. And it's cool that we can see the fingerprints as well. And from what we know of fossils of these guys is that how the hands were arranged is that they would have their thumb spike, the characteristic Iguanodon thumb spike, and then they would have their 3 fingers kind of interloped in skin. They were quite thick. It was almost like a hoof. So how they'd walk is have the middle 3 digits kind of be covered in skin, and they'd all have nails, and they use that to walk on, like depicted here. It was kind of on that way to the condition that you see in hadrosaurs with the kind of 2 hooves going on. It's kind of that similar. And even that's pretty recent. That was only in 2019. I think that was leaked or something like that. But also then we have our last digit. We've got a wonderful pinky. So that would probably potentially be used for grasping and things like that. So really, really interesting that we got this wonderful edit. I even suggested this edit, so it's cool that a lot of people like to listen to the community and things. These modders really are really humble and do their best, especially when they try to make something accurate. But yeah, you see the boxy skull and the joined fingers. The backs also been sloped quite a bit, and the forelimbs have kind of been exaggerated a little bit, and to make it a little bit, I think, well, a little bit leaner and meaner. Really, really interesting, charismatic animal. I think the Iguanodon came together quite well. Really, really cool. Wonderful animal. So we will let time go by and let these guys walk away from the you like to hang around the what's it called, the hatchery. I just want to make sure you guys get away, but we will let you do your thing. So next up, we have got, also by NetRaptor, another Paleoaccurate mod. This will be by, again, NetRaptor. We got a Paleoaccurate Herrerasaurus. So this was something that was actually missing from Jurassic World Evolution 1. So let's have a looky-loo. interesting. So let's get a nice one of these guys hanging out together. So get the UI as well. So we can have a wonderful look at our Herrerasaurus. Herrerasaurus is a very, very interesting dinosaur. Early Jurassic one as well. Well, not early Jurassic, but an early dinosaur from the Jurassic. And we can see a lot of the changes here. It's most likely to fit a better skeletal. We can see the change on the face. The neck's kind of been leaned up. He's generally just got a lot more lean. We can see the face has become a lot more boxy to better reflect the skulls that we know. A really, really, really nice look to him. And we can see the arms have also been changed. It's made a lot more thinner since these guys were kind of in that process of becoming more bipedal as well, but they're still quite large, and we can see the 3 fingers here. Very, very interesting placement as well. You can see 1, 2, 3. Really came out nicely. And then we can see a lot of the changes here. It didn't really need too much of a paleo edit. It's pretty spot on. The feet are right and the arms are right, I think. Pretty sure. You got the hallux there, the little dew claw. Looks really, really wonderful. We can see the pubic boot has also been exaggerated quite a bit. He's got a leaned up tummy, so you can see the gastralia would go in there and then connect to the pelvic boot or the pubic boot right there. And then we can see the tail, I believe, has been a little bit more elongated. So yeah, really came out wonderfully for these guys. Hopefully you guys don't really do too much and not attack anyone. We'll have a look at you as well. Seems like you're running along. See, it almost looks like a weird little raptor. So Herrerasaurus, I think, is a really cool dinosaur to show off, because it's obviously early. It tells us a lot about their evolution, but they form their own little group of Herrerasaurids. It's a very interesting group of dinosaurs, and I think this came out rather wonderfully. So that was also done by NetRaptor, and I think he did a really good job. I'm really loving all these paleo mods. You get to cover them quick and easy, just go over the anatomy. So we will let these guys walk around and do their thing, as long as they get away from the... I don't want to go anywhere near the... Come on, run away. There we are. So next up, this one was done by, again, SGYT as part of his kind of model tweak packs, but this one is meant to be more paleoaccurate. So we're getting into our carnivores. We have got Albertosaurus. So let's have a look at Albertosaurus. So this guy, you can see, he's become a lot leaner and meaner. So let's get a good look at them. Don't want them walking into each other. See if one's in the sun. This one's in the sun by the looks of it. Have a good looky-loo at you. So we can see a lot of the changes in the skull. It reflects more the specimens that we have. It doesn't have that ridiculous brow ridge. It almost looks like a table. But you can see it's a little bit more exaggerated. Quite similar to Giganotosaurus in that way. Skulls are still quite a bit bulky, lean, and mean. Not quite as wide and boxy as Tyrannosaurus, but still quite boxy compared to other theropod dinosaurs, since Tyrannosaurus is an outlier. And we can see here it's perfect binocular vision. So you can see the eyes would be able to overlap through here. At the better position there. There we are. So you can see the eyes come over. Really, really wonderful. I see the neck's also been updated a little bit to better fit that kind of cool, charismatic curve of the neck muscles on Tyrannosaur. Also, you can see the neck has been exaggerated a little bit like almost like a dewlap. Hands have been pronated as well, so looks like they're, as I mentioned all the time, clap, clap, clap. And they seem to be really nice, really good job as well. Also, the body's been slimmed up a bit. You can see it's a lot more oval shape. That's kind of what's charismatic for these guys. Also, the tail's been a little bit more elongated. I notice a lot of people, or at least Frontier, makes their dinosaurs' tails way too short. And then we can see the wonderful feet that these guys have got here. Really makes them a little bit less like human feet. I don't know if that's a big issue sometimes, people make them human feet. This looks a much more bird-like with the 3 toes. And also the hylux there. Really, really wonderful. Really good, big fan of this guy. Be interesting what other paleomods will come in the future, especially with more people coming in because of Jurassic World Evolution 2. But also, new species will be coming in soon, so very, very interesting. So let these guys run off and do their thing. Wonderful, wonderful, incredible. So, we're gonna have a roar. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next one. So, this is by Ken's Creative Art. You guys remember him from Jurassic World Evolution 1. We have got a Paleoaccurate Suchomimus. So that'll be very, very interesting to see. So we will release. Let's we'll have a look at this guy since he's walking around. Maybe that's better. So let's have a wonderful look at this guy. The original one was kind of pretty accurate to begin with, but we can see some changes at a first glance. We can see the face has been updated a bit and also much thinner. The Spinosaurids had very, very long and slender skulls that helped them to grab fish in the water and things. And we can see a little crest has been added. Looks really, really wonderful. Just generally a lot leaner and meaner. Dinosaurs are very, very tall and lean, so in general. But Suchomimus is a great example of this. We can also see the hands have been updated a little bit. I think the claws have been exaggerated because Suchomimus did have big... Spinosaurs in general had very, very big arms with big claws that they used to grapple things, from what we know. Also, we can see the back has been exaggerated quite a bit. It's almost like a pseudo-sail or just a really big hump. It seems like from what we know of Suchomimus itself, it didn't really have that sail like Spinosaurus does, but it seemed to have large vertebrae going down, and it became its tallest at the hip, and then kind of went down through the tail. So that's very, very interesting. We can also see more of the changes to the legs and body. We can see looks like the feet have been greatly shortened up a bit, so it doesn't have quite as weird long feet, or unless that's just the model for the feet. Also, the legs have been changed to better fit the legs and stuff of birds, as I mentioned. And then we can also see the tail looks like it's been slightly elongated since it kind of like dips off at the end. But yeah, this is a really wonderful Suchomimus. I'm a big fan of Sucho. He's a really great boy. Really very interesting. This Spinosaurus in general are really weird. And we can see no lips for this guy. I would say this is probably the only one that you have an excuse really for no lips, because really they have so many weird adaptations for grappling fish that you see in crocodiles, like splayed out teeth and things like that, that may potentially point to it becoming secondarily lipless, which is a very interesting adaptation, I think, but it's really neither here nor there. But anyway, we will move on. Let these guys do their thing. Hopefully they don't kill each other. They don't have to. So, very, very wonderfully, we have got lots and lots of big carnivores. We've got the 3 big Carolinasaurus in one episode, so you guys will be loving that. So we're going to be starting with the first one. So we have got, by Hyper SGYT, hopefully don't bother about that, Hyper SGYT, pronounce it right. We have got an Paleoaccurate Iguanodon, so that'll be very, very interesting. So let's get a look at you. We'll have a look at you like that. So we're gonna go off and have a look. So we can see the original one was obviously much chunkier, but also had a really, really Tyrannosaur-like face. But you can see a lot of the changes here. Fits much more that Carolinasaurus look, or Allosaurid look, or whatever you want to call it. It's much thinner and meaner, because they were adapted for shearing rather than crushing, like Tyrannosaurus was. Because Tyrannosaurus was specifically adapted for really, really biting and crushing into things like Triceratops and Ankylosaurus, or the animals Carolinasaurus were living with were much more fleshier. It's like sauropods and hadrosaurs. So that is part of the reason why they have much leaner and meaner skulls. I like saying leaner and meaner. So we can see a lot of the changes there. It's been much more slimmed down. We can see there's not as much 3D vision or binocular vision as Tyrannosaurs, since these guys have a much more flatter skull. But they didn't really need it. They obviously did fine without it. And we could see the Acanthosaurus is very, very famous for having these really, really long vertebrae, these long spines that go down their neck, and also down the body and the tail, which really gives it an interesting profile. If you look through here, you can see I really like it, because some people like to over muscle it and make it really, really fat, but I think that a lot of people obviously over soft tissue and like over wrap it as opposed to shrink wrap it. But I think this is really like a good blend. It really does look like a real animal. So you can see it's not really fat. The original Frontier one was quite fat, but you can see that quite clear dorsal ridge going through there. Also, we can see some of the bodies change. I think the feet have been shrunk down a little bit again. I think they have a habit of making the feet far too long and look almost like weird and gangly. Dinosaurs most likely had much shorter feet like that. Seems to fit with what we know of Acanthosaurus. We can also see the body's also been shrunk up a little bit of a tummy tuck. Also got a pronated hands and the proper 3 fingers, like we know most Carolinasaurids had. And then we've also got this elongated tail. Seems like it's been elongated at least. And it's been thinned up, since most of the muscle and the tail would have been around here with the carbofemoralis muscle, which would help with walking. So it'd be attached to the femur here, and there'd be a big muscle going about the third of the tail, and that's where most of the muscle of the tail would be, and then the rest would probably be much thinner. So very, very interesting. So we'll let him go off and do his thing. Hopefully he has a good time being a Acanthosaurus. So this next one was also made by Hyper SGYT. So this is another paleoaccurate edit for another Carcharodontosaur. We have got Carcharodontosaurus itself, so that's pretty awesome. So we've got a wonderful new Carcharodontosaurus. Let's see, get a picture. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Don't want to roll it. Is that right? Or there we are. So let's get and have a look at this guy. I think we'll watch him move a little bit more. Oh. I think they're walking together, but anyway, we'll have a look at this wonderful guy. So we can see, if you guys remember the original Frontier Carcharodontosaurus, it's got this really weird triangular face with these weird little knobs on it, but they seem to have fixed that up here. We can see the skull better represents what we know of Carcharodontosaurus and has that very Carcharodontosaurid look. Very long, slender skull, very light. There would have been a big fenestrae in here and here, so that would have made them quite light, but allowed them to get quite big. You can see these really wonderful teeth. We know Carcharodontosaurus means shark-toothed lizards, so its teeth do resemble a shark's. And we can see the little crest here as well to change it up. It really does look wonderful. We can also see the neck's being changed a bit and made to fit a little bit. I think this is based off, not sure what skeleton is, but I think it's Verneuil's skeleton, or skeletal. But still looks wonderful regardless. And then we also see the arms. They have the 3 fingers like most other Tetraneurons. I think it came out nicely. Really nice. The feet have obviously been shrunk a bit. I think a lot of people really like to over-exaggerate the feet. They almost look like they're walking on planks. But really still came out nice regardless. You can see also the ridge that's been going on here, and you can see the tail's been thinned and elongated. As I mentioned, this part would probably be the most muscly, and then you can see the pelvic boot here, the pubic boot as well. So it looks really, really wonderful. They did a great job. So, yeah, we got a Carolinasaurus sorted. Carolinasaurus, haha, nice. So, we're going to let these guys go off and do their thing for a little bit. So now they're leaving that alone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at our last animal. So our last animal today is, as we mentioned, Carolinasaurus, or Carolinasaurus rather. We've got everyone's favorite biggest theropod, or T-Rex rival from Dominion. We have got Giganotosaurus, made by Thronaco, who did a paleo edit that came out really, really nicely. And I just want to show it off because it's really, really wonderful. So let's release our boy. So let's get a look at you. I want to get you at a good light. We'll have a look at you here. So we can see a lot of the updates to this guy. 2 of them come out. Very, very wonderful. We can see a lot of the change of the skull. This seems to be much more based on the more recent skeletals and stuff that have come out. More recent. A lot of the oldest reconstructions, like from the 90s or early 2000s, really exaggerated the skull length, but this seems to be fitting much more to what we know of Giganotosaurus, and we can see the little crest there. It's got this really, really charismatic double crest there. Really, really tall skull, similar to other Carolinasaurus. You can compare them. And yeah, also very tall. The neck's also, I really like how they did the neck. It's tapered down, and I like these little spikes or scoots that we got down the neck. I think it gives a little bit more character. I think they came out wonderfully. We can also see, let me just get this guy at a better position. Yeah, like that. That looks much nicer. So let's go G. We can see also the heads about the same, a little bit lengthened. It looks much more like to what we know of Giganotosaurus. You can see the arms have been beefed up a little bit, and you can see the hands. You can see the 3-fingered hands. Looks really, really wonderful. You can see the pubic boot there as well. Tummy got a bit of a tummy tuck by the looks of it, so that's wonderful. And you also see the tail's been a little bit elongated by the looks of it. Really, really wonderful. And a little bit limbered up. I want to get a good shot of the feet so we can have a look. I want to compare because it doesn't seem that they seems to fit about right, the ones they got there. So that's wonderful. Wonderful feet that you can see like most birds. So yeah, if you guys want something more accurate... Oh, and I forgot to mention, this guy comes with the lips. So you can see, this is a lips version. You can see the lips cover the teeth, which would be most likely more accurate to what we know of large theropods and dinosaurs in general. So that's really, really wonderful. And yeah, just a really nice model all around, and I think he did a wonderful job. I'm a big fan. Big, big fan. So I think this would be a good place to finish. We've done all sorts of paleo edits today. Might be a bit of a quicker one, but once we get new species in, we'll have all sorts of new species coming in, and we'll have to cover them all the time. So who knows? We might want to watch a fight with the Carolinasaurus and the Acrocanthosaurus. Now, these guys never would have met in real life because they live both in different times and in different areas of the world, with Carolinasaurus being from North Africa and Acrocanthosaurus being from North America. But we can watch these guys fight regardless. Why not? We'll watch some dynamic fighting. You can see the clash of the titans. Oh, nah, they decided not to fight today. Whatever, that's okay. We'll still sign it off here. So, very, very interesting pack today. So, I really like. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Always remember to hit the little bell icon to get notified when I upload anything. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.